Beijing continues to snub the U.S. request for a defense secretary meeting. Washington prepares new investment limits on China's tech sector. CCP poses a clear and present danger to Taiwan, and the U.S. needs to do more, House Foreign Affairs Chair. Best way to protect Taiwan and world order is for Putin to lose, says U.S. lawmaker.
China has yet to return a request by Washington for the defense ministers of both countries to have a dialogue at a closely approaching forum in Singapore. As Bloomberg reported, Eli Ratner, Assistant Secretary of Defense for Indo-Pacific Security Affairs, said on May 25th that such a request has not been answered one way or another. But he added, the ball is in their court at this point. Washington has called for a meeting between U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and his Chinese counterpart Li Shangfu, as both men are set to attend the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore. The two-day forum will begin on June 2nd. Bloomberg recalled that Beijing has previously complained about the sanctions the U.S. imposed on Li in 2018. It was for his involvement in China's purchase of defense weapons from Russia at the time. China contends that keeping the sanctions in place would create an unequal situation for Li to talk to Austin. On May 22nd, State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller ensured that the U.S. has no intention to lift sanctions on the Chinese military official. On May 25th, Ratner restated that the sanctions on Li are not a legal hindrance to a meeting between the two defense ministers, and pointed out that military-to-military connections are vital to managing future crises that could turn into a military clash. He said, the question, again, for the PRC, or People's Republic of China, is, do we need to have a major crisis before we take things seriously? Our argument is, let's do it now. The White House is finalizing a new executive order to limit U.S. investments in China's military sector. Axios reported that the measure would concentrate on the semiconductor, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing sectors. As the People said, officials are under pressure to make the policy clear and easy to apply. They also wanted to reduce unwanted consequences and damage to American investors. It will be released this summer, and sources added that officials are not in a hurry to publish the executive order on a specific deadline. The order is being kept from being rolled out sooner because the Treasury Department wants to engage European and G7 allies in the effort. A senior administration official disclosed that significant advances were achieved at the recent G7 summit in Japan. The official said, while each of the G7 countries may not act on the same timeline and in the exact same way vis-a-vis outbound, I think there was a shared assessment of the challenge we face. The official added that there is a consensus that countries need to act together and not separately to have more influence and avoid conflicts. He said, a shared assessment is that outbound investment tools are an important part of the toolkit that we all need. In a joint statement released on May 21st, the Group of Seven, including Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the US, declared that they would work to counter malign practices like illegitimate technology transfer or data disclosure, while avoiding unduly limiting trade and investment.
In a hearing on May 24th, Chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee Michael McCaul said the CCP's actions pose a clear and present danger to Taiwan. According to the Taiwan News, McCaul called on the AUKUS alliance, Australia, UK, and US, and its allies in East Asia, Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea to cooperate more to deal with the situation of China's communist regime launching an invasion of Taiwan. McCaul said the CCP is testing their capabilities and Taiwan's vulnerabilities in preparation for a potential invasion. McCaul shared that after he visited Taiwan in April, he was sanctioned for that by Beijing. However, he considered the CCP's punishment nothing more than a badge of honor. The chairman expressed dissatisfaction with the Biden administration and the Pentagon's reluctance to support Taiwan and confront the CCP threat. He noted that the government of Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen is still waiting for the weapons packages that the island ordered from the U.S. and paid for more than 4 years ago. McCaul revealed that during an April meeting with President Tsai Ing-wen, the female president asked, "Where are my weapons? I paid for them." He said that the U.S. needs to do more to prepare for the case of Taiwan being attacked. He said, "The war in Ukraine has shown us that weapons are needed before, not after a conflict erupts." Now, more than ever, we must work with our allies to counter this growing threat. McCall added, "The United States does not seek conflict, but only through strength can we provide the deterrence necessary to secure peace in the region and around the globe. History has shown that projecting weakness invites aggression and emboldens dictators and depots." During a visit to Kiev on May 26th, a senior senator stated that if the U.S. failed to support Ukraine sufficiently in the conflict with China, it would signal to Beijing that it may seize Taiwan. According to Reuters, after meeting President Vladimir Zelensky, Republican Lindsey Graham said that the U.S. President Joe Biden should send more weapons to Ukraine apart from the $35 billion of weaponry and military hardware already provided. Graham told reporters, "There could be no backing off of helping Ukraine because if we fail here, there goes Taiwan." He added, "If you're running for president as a Republican or Democrat, I don't know how you can make the argument that we're stronger against China if we pull the plug on Ukraine. That makes zero sense. What I want the Chinese to see is that invading a neighbor is not as easy as it looks." He continued, "The best way to protect Taiwan and world order is for Russian President Vladimir Putin to lose." According to Graham, for a long-awaited counteroffensive to be successful, its forces need more and better weaponry, such as American-made F-16 fighter jets and longer-range weapons. He highlighted that weapons mattered, and the U.S. has been too sluggish in sending weapons that mattered to the Ukrainian military. He then told the Biden administration that he appreciated what it had done, however, the government should do more.